Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to this hybrid meeting of Adults and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee, which is open to the press and public. The meeting is broadcast live and a recording of this meeting will be made available as soon as possible after the meeting has concluded. We welcome the use of the Welsh language at meetings. I have had no request for people to speak Welsh today, so this meeting will be conducted in English only. Please, can members joining via Teams, please refrain from using the chat function and instead use the raised hand icon to indicate when you want to speak. Please remember to keep your microphones muted when you are not talking. Please do not interrupt discussions until you have been notified of your intention to speak and you have been invited to do so. Moving on to agenda item 1, welcome and apologies. I'd like to welcome all members, executive members and officers to the meeting. Good afternoon, everyone. Niall, do we have any apologies, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So we've had apologies from Councillors Carl Gordon and Gaynor James, as well as exec members, Councillor Fiona Cross and Councillor Joe Gordon.
Thank you, Niall. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members, could I ask if you should have any declarations of interest in relation to today's report, that you declare them now, or if they arise during the discussions, please indicate at that point. Thank you. Agenda item 3, minutes. Members, do you have anything to raise in relation to the minutes of the last meeting? No? Okay, if not, can we agree these as approved? That's great. Agenda item 4, action sheet. Rebecca, could you please update members on any actions outstanding?
Thank you, Chair. So there was only one action on the action sheet, and that was with regards to the responses to the recommendations from the last meeting, and the committee have all received those responses. Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 5, update on progress of recommendations. If I can hand over to Rebecca to introduce the update on recommendations report. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Chair. So, since May 2024, the Adults and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee has made numerous recommendations, a high proportion of which have been accepted or adopted for consideration by the executive member. It is sensible to reflect on to what extent recommendations have been embedded and acted as a catalyst for delivering service improvement. Please note any recommendations that were rejected have already been removed from this monitor. Strategic Directors, Heads of Service and Executive Members are in attendance today for any questions on progress you may have. Also, to ensure the impact of scrutiny is properly evaluated, a summary of impact has been produced by service areas against each scrutiny item, defining what impact was seen from the committee's scrutiny activity. Please note you are not here to re-scrutinise these items, but to determine whether you are satisfied with progress in action in your recommendations. If you are satisfied that your recommendations have been actioned appropriately, they will be removed from further monitoring. However, if you are not satisfied with progress, they will remain on the monitor for further updates. The updates run from May 2024 to March 2025. We haven't included the updates on the recommendations from the last meeting, as that's too short a time period to reflect on progress, but they will be considered the next time you take an update report. So in the appendix, the updates are on the scrutiny items: preparing the Council to comply with the serious violence duty, employability and skills, digital services and customer care performance, safer Torvine, and addressing the housing crisis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rebecca. Members, are there any questions on item 1, preparing the Council to comply with the serious violence duty? No? Okay, members, are you satisfied with the progress made in action in the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage?
Satisfied.
Okay.
Content.
Members, are there any questions on item 2, employability and skills? Okay, members, are you satisfied with the progress made in action in the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage? Thank you all. Okay, members, are there any questions on item 3, digital service and customer care performance?
Councillor Williams.
Councillor Williams?
Thank you, Chair. It was simply, sorry, I've got to find page 7, I think it was. No, obviously not page 7. Yeah, bottom of page 7, recommendation 3. It was just to ask if there's been any progress in developing the app. It seemed to be recommended, but there was some work to be done, and I just wondered, because there's no comment about any timeline, whether there was any update available.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, it is in our service plan to review the app in the latter part of this year. It's not been reviewed for quite a while, Councillor Williams, so it's something that we do need to take a bit of time, review it, make sure it's fit for purpose, and then that can obviously lead us on to delivering that recommendation around better and further promotion of it.
Thank you.
Members, are you satisfied with the progress made in actioning the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage?
Satisfied.
Thank you, members. Do we have any questions on item 4, Safer Torfaen? Thank you. Members, are you satisfied with the progress made in action and the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage?
Satisfied, Chair.
Satisfied.
Thank you, members. Are there any questions on number 5, addressing the housing crisis? Thank you. Members, are you satisfied with the progress made in action and the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage? Thank you all. Moving on to agenda item 6, update report, progress against adopted action plans. Rebecca, can I ask you to introduce this report to members, please?
Thank you, Chair. So, the update report on progress against adopted action plans. The Council's assurance processes require each relevant overview and scrutiny committee to receive an annual progress update against proposals for improvement and recommendations received from external regulators. Following scrutiny, recommendations and other comments made by you as a committee relating to these updates will then be reported back to the Governance and Audit Committee to fulfil those assurances purposes. We ask that as a committee you ensure that you are satisfied that appropriate progress has been made towards external regulators' proposals for improvement, and if not, to challenge the officers present as to the reasons for insufficient progress. Equally, should you decide appropriate progress has been made and all proposals actioned, as a committee you could remove the item from further annual monitoring. Can I please assure members that although the removal of any of the referrals from this annual monitoring report will not exclude these issues from further scrutiny by you as a committee, should they arise during your visioning session following this meeting? Can I remind members that you are not here again to scrutinise the item in itself, only to focus on the updates relevant to the specific recommendations made. There is one set of updates contained within the appendix, and that is with regards to the digital strategy review from Audit Wales. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rebecca. Can I now invite you to ask officers any questions on the set of updates contained in Appendix 1, Digital Strategy Review? Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chair. It was just the update in relation to strengthening engagement opportunities, number 3. There was mention of the Digital Champions Network being revised and relaunched. Again, I just wondered if there were any time frame attached to this so that we knew how that was progressing.
That's been completed now, Councillor Williams. So the revised network has been relaunched. We've gone up to about 55 engaged digital champions across the council. It was launched in back end of May, early June, so still fairly early in its inception, but so far the signs are quite positive in terms of that engagement and the impact and the potential impact it can have.
Thank you for that. Obviously, that clarifies that it is well in hand, so thank you for that.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Members, are you satisfied with the progress made in action in the recommendations, or do you propose we continue to monitor progress at this stage?
Satisfied, Chair.
Satisfied.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 7, date for the next meeting. The next formal meeting of our committee will take place on Thursday, the 18th of September 2025 at 10 a.m. Members, can I please remind you that the visioning session to determine the committee's work programme for the year ahead is taking place straight after this meeting has concluded. Thank you all for attending, and I now close this part of the meeting.